Hey Channel Insiders, I'm your host Katie Bavoso, and welcome back to part 2 of my interview with Aaron Brown, Chief Transformation Officer at True Increase and founder of Burgeon Software. If you haven't watched or listened to part 1, you're definitely going to want to head over to channelinsider.com right now to catch up, because in this episode, we're getting a little personal. You're going to witness Aaron do a coaching session with me, where I learn how to overcome some of the challenges in my own career journey. And we all learn how to use these tools to open our mind, get out of our own way, and start our journeys to becoming high-capacity leaders.
If you're comfortable with it, I would love to take something that you'd like to work on, but I'd like to just walk you through a simple process. Just think of an area in your business or your work that you'd like to see exponential results in.
The fear of failure, definitely.
Okay. My company's 3 core values are trust, truth, and transformation. And so the first one, trust, it's based on number 1, trusting myself as a guide. 2, trusting my methodology that it's scientifically proven. And 3, trusting that my client knows exactly what they need. They just need permission and a little bit of guidance to focus on it and unpack it. I'm telling you, Katie, this area is going to catapult your results dramatically. Now, I have a couple basic guidelines to help us move forward. And the most important is that you would feel safe. And if, again, somebody told me this 5 years ago, I would have said, oh, that's a fluffy snowflake term, right? It's safety, safe. Like, we're safe. I'm not going to do anything to you over the camera here. Like, I can't hurt you. But the reality is your limbic system is the strong man in our brain. Your prefrontal cortex is much smarter, much more capable of creating results and outcomes. But the limbic system is much stronger and much faster. So if you feel threatened in any way or uncomfortable in any way, your creativity and your connectivity start to shut off and shut down. This is the secret. This is the neuroscience. So for us to feel safe, you have to be in control. You have to get to be in the driver's seat. So the second thing is I want to encourage you to speak for yourself, right? Like self-advocate, because this few minutes we'll spend here is all about Katie getting what she wants. I'd like you to close your eyes. Okay. So what I'd like you to do is I'd like you to start with changing your breathing pattern. And I'd like you to just take longer, not forced, but long, deep breaths. And I'd like you to breathe out longer than you breathe in. Yeah. And our goal is just to get comfortable and relaxed. Again, we're letting our nervous system know that we're safe. And we're letting our limbic system just take a little nappy time, take a little break so that our prefrontal can take over. Before we dig in, I want to teach you a warm-up exercise. And I want you to go back in your memory and I want you to take me to a time when you felt maybe the most safe or the most peaceful in your life, the most rested, and without opening your eyes, I want you to tell me, where are you when you felt super peaceful, super at rest? And I want you to paint a picture for me so I can actually go there with you.
I'm definitely picturing my family and waking up at my parents' house on a summer day after not living there full-time anymore, and just waking up and seeing them out on the back deck eating breakfast. Mm-hmm. And my husband's there too. And just being a family and being in the moment and just being very peaceful.
Awesome. So give me some sensory data. Bring me there.
The back deck is one that my dad built and rebuilt several times. And it's painted red. And there is a round table, glass table with an umbrella, and everybody is sitting around it. My dad has a newspaper. My mom has a Kindle. Everybody has a cup of coffee. My sister's there as well. It's her day off. And everybody looks up when I come out with my husband as well and just greets us and just happy to see us. The way the sunlight pours into my parents' backyard is very peaceful. It's very quiet. I can hear a lot of birds, potentially a lot of cicadas this time of year. But it just feels like a moment where nobody's expecting anything of me, and I can just sort of sit down and let the day begin to unfold.
Yeah, it's good. Stay there if you can. First of all, I'm there with you. Like I can see the whole scene. So thank you for sharing that memory with me. Your neuroscience, your whole chemistry changed. And what was released in you is called oxytocin. It's the rest and relaxation hormone, or what they call the feed and breed hormone. When that chemical is released, it counterbalances all the cortisol and all the adrenaline that's being released in you on a day-to-day basis with all the stress and fear and anxiety and hustle and beeps and clicks. I'd like you to hold up your hand. I don't have to see it on camera, but like you're holding a mason jar. And I want you to take in your other hand, you've got the lid to that mason jar. And what you're doing is you're bottling up that memory of safety and acceptance and love. And you're going to close that, save it in the jar, and you're going to set it on your desk for later. And this is something you have the power. This is the power of memory and the five senses, and why we learn through experience. You can actually learn through experience that's not actually happening. Your chemistry changed because your brain took you there through memory, through visual, through sight, through sound. You know, the most powerful of the senses is actually the olfactory, the smell. So if you can attach smell to it, it's even more powerful. But you're going to bottle that up, and next time you notice that you're shallow breathing, or you've got a outcome that you're responsible for, you're going into a big meeting or an interview or whatever, you've got something going and you find yourself just carrying a little bit of tension, your shoulders are tight, you can grab that jar with your hand, you can unscrew the lid, and you can just let that memory out, and you can go back and you can visit it anytime you want. And your chemistry will change, your limbic will relax, and you can slide up to your prefrontal cortex and tap into greater connecting and creating. And so with your eyes closed still, I'm going to take you into a second exercise, and this is where we'll camp out. And so you said that your biggest challenge is fear of failure. So what I'd like you to do is, continuing to breathe, I'd like you to tell me about the first time you felt like a failure.
There was a time in my 20s when I was a news anchor, and my new news director at the time told me she was going to take me off the anchor desk. Um,
Mm,
and it was a really devastating period of time in my life. I didn't get a lot of answers as to why. It didn't end up happening because I worked really hard, and I also started to let go of what's the worst that could happen, because in my mind it already had. Um,
yeah.
but I remember in that moment in the office, and her telling me that, it was probably up until this point the most devastating moment in my career. And that's definitely the first time that I felt the worst had happened.
Yeah. And first of all, with your eyes closed still, I just want to say you're super brave for sharing that. And the secret to making transformation neurologically and tapping into your greater potential is courage, curiosity, and vulnerability. And I want to ask you, as you share that story with me, I'd like you to share, where do you feel that in your body?
I can feel like a heat in my ears and in my jaw. It's kind of coming up through my neck. Um,
Wow, that
yeah.
is that's good. Good. Okay, so you feel hot in your ears, your jaw, and your neck. Okay, so that's how you feel physically. Now I'd like you to try to, what emotions are coming up, like anger or sadness or fear or betrayal? Like what are the emotional words that you identify with?
Um, Shock. Uh,
Shock. Yeah.
Heartbroken.
Mm,
Um, Disappointed.
mm.
And definitely helpless.
So those are feelings you're feeling when that your neck flares up and your ears and your throat are hot, or your jaw, right? If that sensation, that heat in those places, if it had a voice, what would it say about you at that moment?
It would probably say they were right. um,
They were right. Yeah. And what were they right about?
that I wasn't going to make it in the profession that I wanted to, and that I wasn't believably intelligent or
Mm,
charming or hardworking
yeah.
or anything that could get me to that point or past that point.
Yeah. Okay, that's really good. I know it's painful, but you're getting to the core of what's been holding you back. And so they were right. You're not going to make it. You're not believable or smart enough or charming enough or hardworking enough. That's the lie. That's the warped representation of reality that you've been believing. So that's what we call a powerless belief. And you even use the word helpless. That means that others have power in the situation and you don't. You don't have the agency or the ability to make the difference or produce the outcome in your life that you want. And the good news is it's just not true, but you don't believe that just yet, but you're going to in a moment. So I'm going to ask you, what would you like to believe about yourself when it comes to failure or success or your charm or your intelligence or your work ethic? What do you know is true? What would you like to believe or rest on?
I'd like to believe that I have the natural talent along with the years of experience that can show me I can learn to do anything within the profession that I've chosen, and that I can do it. And I had all the raw ingredients as well as the gumption to make these things happen, and that I was worthy.
Yeah. Okay. So now we're getting to the nut of it. This is the center, the core. So it's fascinating from a nerdy scientific perspective because I'm gonna have you open your eyes now and join me. And great work. Um, we're not quite done, but we're rounding to the finish here. And you've heard of affirmations. They don't work. Otherwise, all these people who are telling themselves affirmations, they'd have massive change. However, identifying a real life experience which showed you a different truth and choosing to anchor on that truth does work. And what happens is it can overshadow this half truth or lie that you've been believing. And we all do it. So you're not unique in this. This is common. The most common belief that I deal with high capacity leaders is I'm not good enough. And that's in essence what you told me is they were right. I wasn't going to be believable or charming enough or work hard enough to, get what I want. I'm not good enough. So as we identify these beliefs, and that's what they're just beliefs, it doesn't mean they're true, and we can replace them with actual verifiable truth. My mind, if it can recognize truth, it can fixate on that. What we fixate on is how we move and how we function. Our belief drives our thoughts, drives our behavior. So the last word you said was worthy. I don't think the belief you need is about your charm, your work ethic, or your intelligence. I think you've got all those in spades. That's not really the thing that's holding you back. I believe the thing that's holding you back is the doubt that you're worthy of it. So, this is where the rubber meets the road. We need to write a new belief that is, you've got evidence to back up that shows you you're worthy of it. So, I'm going to ask you one more time to close your eyes if you're comfortable. I'm going to ask you to tell me one more memory. I'd like you to go to a time in your life where you felt totally worthy, totally loved, totally accepted. It might be the best ever. It might just be one of your experiences. And I want you to tell me that story.
Same year actually as the other one.
Interesting.
I was nominated for an Emmy Award, and just the fact that I was nominated was an incredible feeling. And I remember I didn't know. I was on a different shift. I had the morning shift, so it was now late afternoon. I was probably getting ready to go to bed, and a friend of mine and coworker called to break the news to me, and I remember feeling like I did it. That thing that I always said that I was going to do. It wasn't even just about winning, it was about being recognized as
Yeah.
a player in that space.
Yeah. So eyes closed still. You're going to make me cry. I'm so excited for you. What room were you in? What house or where were you living at the point? Like what room? Where are you?
I was in my teeny tiny apartment, just kind of watching some TV and hanging out with my cat, probably going over some emails and thinking about what I was going to cover the next day, and just feeling very much on the verge of tears when I
Mm,
got that call, and I felt like a warmth in my chest, not a heat like I had felt in the first story, but a
yeah,
warmth, almost like bathwater gently falling over me. That's definitely the
yeah.
emotion that I felt and started in my heart. My cell phone rings and she, says, "Congratulations, Emmy nominee." And I remember like my jaw just fell open. I was just so thrilled because it felt like I did it.
What did you learn about yourself in that moment? What voice did you hear?
They were wrong.
Yeah. And I want to massage that belief a little bit and suggest that you gave us the clue earlier, what you really learned but have forgotten or has been quieter than this other thing you learned was that you are worthy. You are worthy. You're capable. And so I want to encourage you to pick a tagline, a phrase, a new belief, and whether it's I'm worthy and capable or some variety of that, that's your own words. And I want you to write that somewhere, put it somewhere where you're going to see that phrase, and that's going to be your catchphrase for a season, maybe permanently. And whenever you find that your neck and jaw and ears are getting hot, that's your early warning system of your nervous system saying, hey, we're feeling threatened. Like I'm not believable or charming or hardworking enough, or they might be right. And you're going to be able to go back to this little memory that you're going to take your hand, you're going to bottle up in the mason jar, you're going to, you're going to close the lid and save it on your desk next to the other one and say, I am worthy, or I am worthy and capable. Whatever your saying is that you have pretty sufficient evidence for based on that nomination. And I'm willing to bet that you have a lot more evidence like that. So I'm going to encourage you to do one more exercise after we're done. And that is that you would give yourself 10 to 15 minutes of reflection time and sit down in your favorite spot currently. And I'd like you to come up with a list, as many items as you can in that 10 to 15 minutes of evidence that you are worthy and capable, or whatever support evidence you have for that saying that you pick. And what you're doing is you're retraining your nervous system and you're carving new neural pathways in the process. And anytime something comes up where you get to more evidence, either past that you're reminded of or in present day that it comes up, I want you to add to that list. And better than writing it in a journal or on a piece of paper, here's another shameless plug. Go to my Burgeon app, and you can add it in there in your ladder module. So go ahead and open your eyes.
Now I'm all.
How do you feel?
There were some tears. There were some tears.
Was that too painful?
It wasn't. It wasn't. It was not necessarily painful. I felt it was freeing, honestly.
How's your neck and shoulders feel?
Pretty good. Pretty good.
Yeah, one of the most common responses I hear is I feel lighter. I feel my neck doesn't hurt. My jaw doesn't hurt. Why? Because neurologically, you've actually changed. You had an experience like the one on your parents' back patio, right? That released oxytocin, that released these positive hormones that they flush out the adrenaline and the cortisol that are constantly being released in your system.
If we want to reach out and experience what I just did and experience coaching, experience your methods at True Increase, where can we go?
Sure. My website, trueincrease.com, or there's a QR code for our Burgeon app or software. And you can reach me on LinkedIn or email at aaron.brown@trueincrease.com.
Aaron, thank you so much for sharing your expertise, your experience, and your thoughts with us today. I very much appreciated this.
Katie, great talking with you. And you are worthy and capable, and great talking with you today.
Thanks again to Aaron for joining me today, and thank you for watching or listening. You can check out all episodes of Channel Insider Partner POV on channelinsider.com or watch on YouTube at channelinsider_news and trends. You can also listen to every episode as a podcast on your favorite podcast listening platform. And don't forget, like, subscribe, and follow wherever possible so you never miss an episode. Once again, I'm Katie Bavoso, and I'll see you next time.